is my pleasure to introduce and to welcome back to Beaverdale, Sam Coleman. Wow, what a reception.
What a reception.
For His Heartbeat, a Drumline is told from a deeply human perspective, albeit a perspective of someone with a unique set of challenges. His book is a testament to shared humanity, the stubborn triumph of spirit, and the heartbreaking consequences of societal prejudice. Sam has been a writer ever since he could pick up a pencil. He wrote his first book when he was in daycare, and his teacher included writing time in every day. He wrote about aliens, battles, good and evil, and even had his own set of extremely subpar illustrations to go with his stories. You said that, not me.
And I stand by it.
Okay. As he grew older, writing stayed his favorite form of expression. It was his main outlet, especially as life got complicated. Writing has, however, never been his profession. He is a former product owner and current vagabond, ski bum, hiker, and chronic nomad. So please join me in welcoming Sam Coleman.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Testing. Sweet. I'm so happy to see everybody here. I don't live in Des Moines anymore. I live in Colorado, but it's always great to come back here.
Colorado.
I would never know that.
That's why you're a nomad.
Yeah, sorry, it's that way. But yeah, I mean, like, I grew up in Beaverdale. It's pretty surreal to have my hometown bookstore carry my book. It's pretty awesome, and it's also just kind of surreal to even just see it out. I still haven't really gotten over that part yet. But yeah, I mean, kind of like, you know, what we've already said, I have been writing for forever. This specific story came into my head around, like, I don't know, like 6 years ago, I guess, at this point, maybe a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, like, it kind of like grew with me as I became an actual adult, not just like a 21-year-old living in Phoenix, Arizona. But yeah, it's awesome. But by a show of hands, who has like read and finished the book? Just want to know. Yeah, no judgment, unless it's Chris. Judge him. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of this is going to be like a Q&A. You can ask me about my life and like writing the book. You can ask me about characters. But if you're going to ask plot specific stuff, just kind of let us know before you do it, so that people can close their ears and sing to themselves while we ask that question. But yeah, I guess just to start off, does anyone have any questions about me or my life? I know most of you, but there are some new faces in here. Or we can just jump right into asking questions about the book and getting to know that.
Tell us about the title.
Yeah, this was really unique because I don't know, I came up with it before I even knew what the book was going to be about. I had like a very rough, subtle idea of what I wanted to get out of it, but I've always been like very drawn to like the ways that we like triumph over difficulty and stuff like that. I'm very into like just how contagious like the human spirit is. And so I don't know what made me think of the title exactly at this point. It was quite a long time ago, but it just kind of symbolizes like, you know, the man in this book kind of like just gets kind of beaten down basically the entire plot until he finds out how to rise out of his own situation by himself. And so I just thought that it was very powerful to think of like just someone's like kind of life form to be like, you know, like a marching rhythm and not just like one singular thing. Like, I think I've always loved drum lines. I think they're very powerful. That's always been my favorite part of like high school football games when they come out. Well, one of them at least. So I just think it's, it just symbolizes something very powerful that could be within someone to overcome something.
Is the main character Reese kind of a little bit of yourself, a little bit of people you've met as you traveled, or just something that came up through your imagination?
Yeah, I mean, when you write something that's first person specifically, I mean, like, yeah, there are pieces of me that are obviously all over Reese. I mean, it's the storyline is fictional. For people who have read the book, it might put you at ease to know that none of the things that happen in the book have actually ever happened to me. But yeah, I mean, I use writing as a way to interpret and understand my own world. And so the people in my life and myself, I need to dedicate a lot of time to trying to figure out myself. It can be a little bit complicated at times, but yeah, so the character Reese was definitely, at least the personality and the way that he is very based on who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. What's up?
What's up? I know there are some like heavy themes with mental health in the book.
Mm-hmm.
How did you conduct your research? Was it through life, or did you like go and seek out new experiences in order to illustrate it?
Yeah, great question. 'Cause yeah, mental health is probably, I mean, if there was a main theme to the book, it would probably be that. I think, well, I have OCD, and before I knew that, I knew that there was something going on, and I didn't know what that was. And so I think in typical OCD fashion, I obsessed over what the worst possible scenario could have possibly been, which in my mind, just based on like pop culture, movies, and everything like that, it was schizophrenia. I was like horrified at the idea that I might have that illness. And so as I researched schizophrenia to make sure that I don't have it, I actually ended up becoming like a little bit angry about what I was finding. I think that schizophrenia is a very misunderstood illness. However, it is an extremely serious illness, especially if you don't have access to or do not seek out the treatment necessary to actually treat it. And once I actually did learn that I have OCD, it became like honestly just as strong, because I think OCD is also like very misunderstood in today's society. Like, people clean stuff up and then they say, "Sorry, I'm just really OCD." I'm like, wow, I really wish that was what my OCD was. Did it shut off?
Yeah, it did. Try it. Maybe it was the battery.
Maybe. Or it's back on right now.
It's on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just hold that position.
Yeah. I won't move. I'll keep one arm back here. But no, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I'm very passionate about mental health and like dedicating time to figuring yourself out in any way that you want to or need to. And especially if you do have a mental illness, it's hard enough to just grapple with that yourself. It makes it infinitely harder to know that you have prejudice and like people who are like almost rooting against you just because they know that you have something. And schizophrenia, I mean, I don't know about you guys, I did not have a good idea of what someone with schizophrenia is or is like. And yeah, I mean, like there are very serious and heartbreaking cases of schizophrenia, but it's a common mental illness. Millions of people in America have it, and millions of people are able to live normal lives even though they have this disease. So I just kind of wanted to change the narrative a little bit. I thought that it was just important to talk about, and also writing about it helped me rationalize my own feelings about my own mental health, which was very therapeutic.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
When you set out to write the book, Did you have the whole story in mind? Did you just have a beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I had most of it. I had a general idea of what I wanted to get out of it. A lot of the details of the book are, I mean, they're not starkly different from what I had planned, but there is a lot that has changed throughout the book from my original intent. Which, yeah, I mean, like, I did plan it out a little bit more. I mean, like, I have written a lot before this book, but this was kind of the first story, I think because I really wanted to say something important, where I was like, I actually kind of want to put this out into the world because I feel like I want to say something that could help people in this book. So I did actually plan it out. Now, whether or not I stick to my own plan is something that rarely happens. but yeah, the main themes stayed the same, but a lot of what happens in the book is kind of different, at least. I mean, like, one of the big things, this isn't a spoiler, but there's a lot of poetry in the book, and the poetry in the book is based on a fictional book within a book, and that was not a part of the original novel, but I think, I mean, it could have been something as simple as I got tired of writing a long-form novel, and I just wanted to write something that was 5 lines long and then done.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so yeah, there are little differences all throughout the book. Yeah. Let's go. Okay, well, I saw David's hand first. We'll get to
I was
T.
curious about the poetry. Did it come in as an afterthought, or did you integrate that originally? I mean, was it? It's an interesting format. I like it.
Yeah, it was okay. So I started writing the book in the summer of COVID, of like 2021. No, the summer of 2020, actually. And it was not a part of the book until I went back to college. And I mean, typical. He shows up late. And then, no, yeah, I went back to college, and it is also alluded to in the book with, like, Reese has, like, you know, it kind of, most of it takes place in the present moment. Every once in a while there's a chapter that's an outtake from Reese's old life in college. And I was in college when I wrote most of this, so a lot of those, like, kind of flashbacks are at least somewhat based in reality. One of them is he went up to the 4th floor of his school's library and he read poetry all night. I didn't stay there all night because that is against the rules. I'm a rule follower. But I did, like, find this anthology of, like, academic poetry on the 4th floor of my library. Because there was a girl I thought that was cute who always studied up there, so I would sit there, look around, try it. But yeah, so I did, like, stay up there, and that was how I kind of had a second reckoning with poetry. I've always enjoyed it, but I've never been a big reader. But then I, like, really enjoyed what it meant to write a poem after that, and I think I started doing it way more often. Yeah. Yeah, it was very therapeutic, and yeah, it's really nice because, you know, this book is like 90,000 words long. It's big, and it took a long time to write. And you know, you do a lot of explaining as you write a book because you want to at least guide someone to the same conclusion that you're coming to at some point. You know, you might want to misdirect them at some points, but it's just really nice to kind of, like, have an idea, explain the idea, and then let someone completely take it on their own, which I really love about poetry. Yeah.
Well, he stole my question. So, you know.
Well done. You did a great job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I love
Thank
the
you.
poetry. Yeah.
You say you were writing this while you were in college.
Mm-hmm.
Did you share some of the early drafts with classmates, professors, or just keep it to yourself?
I shared it with some people. I think my family would probably let you know that they were left out of the picture for quite a while. I only told them, like, when I was actually, like, I don't know, when did I tell you? Like probably a month before I started pre-orders for the book, something like that.
Wow.
It was.
Well,
I
knew
mean,
you were right. You had
yeah,
said you
like,
were writing, but I never thought
yeah,
it would really get.
it was something where like, yeah, they knew that I enjoyed writing, but yeah, but.
So talk about that process. How did you get it published?
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not a professional writer. I didn't study writing. I didn't do anything like that. I just really enjoyed it, and so getting it published is really difficult if you don't have a writing degree or if you do not have a connection to the writing industry. And that's not so. I mean, one could argue that's a flaw of the industry, but it's really just because so many people are writing books right now and they want to get them published. So it's become a much more competitive field. And so, I mean, there was a point in time when I was querying agents and I was trying to get it published. That was probably like 3 years ago. And I wasn't getting much bite. I was getting like semi-warm reactions, but no one took it. And then it was just kind of like, I could keep trying to do this, or I could just try to rely on myself. I mean, I was an entrepreneurship major in college, not a writing major. So it was kind of like, well, could I just employ some of what I've learned to do this myself and not go through a publisher? And yeah, I mean, like, I really like it. It kind of allows me to do it at my own pace, but there are some stuff that cost a lot more money. Like, I had to pay for my own editor, Aaron Lilito, shout out. He lives in New York. But yeah, so like it costs a little bit more money up front. I started freelance consulting for my old boss. I had a boss at Wells Fargo who texted me kind of out of the blue because he was building a new app that he wanted to. Neither of us liked working at Wells Fargo, so we were both looking for a way out. So yeah, he was building out this new app, and he just like wanted my help, and so I kind of got him to pay me for that, and then all of that money went toward like publishing this book. So it's definitely like it felt very bootstrapped, felt very entrepreneurial. I painted the book cover. I don't know if people know that I do paint as well as write because I can't choose an outlet. But yeah, so like that was a way that I saved money, and then I formatted it myself, and then obviously I ran the pre-sale myself and everything like that. So yeah, it was a long journey, but it was nice. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So is this book about one main character?
It is about, the storyline revolves around one person for most of the book. But it is, so the narrator changes by the chapter. So different people narrate the book as they come into contact with Reese in his life, and kind of offer their own input as to what's going on and what really is happening there. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like him, his dad is one of the narrators, a police officer is one of the narrators, a female interest in his life is one of the narrators, and then also his therapist, and I know that I'm missing one person, but that's most of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had any feedback from therapists?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So I was very explicit when choosing an editor. I chose someone whose wife was a therapist. So I agreed to work with him on the condition that I could request that his wife read my stuff.
2 for 1.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I do know a few friends who work in social work. And so they offered some really valuable insight. And also, when I lived in Des Moines, which I lived in Des Moines right before I published it, I had a therapist here. And in our last session, which was kind of just like a, hey, see you later, have fun in Montana, I was like, well, hold on, we still have a half hour and I'm paying you for it. So I'm going to read you some notes. Please tell me what you think about that. So she pulled out her DSM-5 and we went through some stuff. And then outside of that, it's like I know people who have family members who have schizophrenia or like close friends who do. So I got input from them as well before I published it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And PubMed on Google. Great resource. Yeah. Do you have a question?
I was going to ask a similar question, or anyone who's read your book, has anyone come to you and said, oh, I thought, or I got something out of some insight into what you wrote that made them feel better or experience something that made them say something?
Yeah. No one like that. I mean, I have had people who have exposure to the illness read it. And yeah, I mean, like, they thankfully have had great things to say about it, and they applaud the way that the disease is portrayed. I mean, that was like my biggest fear when publishing this book. So I was like, I really want to put out something that's valuable and that can help people. And if I publish it and realize that I got stuff wrong, I would have pulled it off of every bookshelf and discontinued it on Amazon. Like, I would not have maybe worked on it for another year.
Kind of a follow-up to his question. You know, I think when I read it, there are experiences that Reese has that I think everybody goes through, whether they have a mental illness or not.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of things I could relate to in there, and I think I mentioned that in one of my online reviews, that it really makes you stop and think about different things, whether you've been diagnosed with a mental illness or not, or whether you know someone that's had one and dealt with one. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things in there everybody can take from the book.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was another really important thing to bring out of it, is that, like, yes, the main character has schizophrenia, and yes, that is the catalyst for virtually every plot line that happens in the book. And kind of like how he grapples with it, or how other people grapple with him having it. But at the same time, I didn't want it to be like a medical research paper, you know, like it doesn't go into like the reasons why people might get schizophrenia or like the clinical diagnoses. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted it, like the goal was for him to still primarily just be a person. And a lot of the book is kind of like, you know, yeah, he's frustrated with himself. He's trying to grapple with what he's going through. And it's definitely not made any easier by his diagnosis, but like he's just a person. I mean, like, yeah, he's like for part of the book he's like chasing a girl. For the other part he's like wanting to travel. Like he's just kind of doing his own stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of exploring like how this random backdrop that doesn't really, I mean, he is like an early stage, high functioning person with schizophrenia. Like he does not yet have a super advanced case that would require very advanced intervention, which is what a lot of people with the disease have. Like it's a very curable disease, and so a lot of the book doesn't even really explore the possible symptoms of schizophrenia. It just explores what other people might think of just because you have the word associated with you, and what you might think of yourself just because you have the word associated with you. So, yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, I tried to write it to be as, you know, broadly understandable as possible. Very important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This all brings up some emotion for me. My dad was misdiagnosed as a schizophrenic in the 60s. It turns out he still had post-traumatic stress from World War II. And so then he got better treatment when they realized what was going on with him. But he went on, became an educated man, a school principal, had 8 kids, and with all that, and so he was a trooper.
That's wonderful.
And
that's wonderful to hear.
So just, I mean, that was the 60s. You know,
Yeah.
Probably had a lot of misdiagnosis then. So
Yeah.
now they know a lot more about PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I mean, there's just so much nuance, and we still know so little about the brain. So yeah, it's something that's very, very difficult. But yeah, yeah, it's really interesting to hear, though. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
As you were researching, was there any big surprises, things that you discovered that
Yeah, there were a ton. I mean, kind of like I was alluding to before, I didn't know a lot about the illness, and what I did know terrified me. So, number one, most people with schizophrenia do not have visual hallucinations. That is not common. I think it happens in about 20% of patients. And so the remaining are just auditory. And that doesn't even really mean that someone or something is talking to you. It more just means that something is getting triggered in your brain where something is not there otherwise. So it's just kind of interesting from that standpoint. I think when I first, one of the things that changed was when I first drafted the book, the main character did have visual hallucinations, but I took that out because I didn't think that it was an accurate representation of what was going on. Another one, and this is not really so much like a concrete finding, but it was really interesting to see how this disease might manifest in different cultures based on what the perception of the society is on the illness. A lot of people who have auditory hallucinations in schizophrenia might just, not all the time, but sometimes it's someone that they know who is just saying very demeaning things to them, breaking them down. It would probably be someone very close to them who is just saying something really rude to them. And what some studies try to uncover is well, why is that happening? Why are they not saying really positive things about these people? And a lot of it can come down to how they view themselves post-diagnosis based on what society thinks of their illness. There was this really kind of fringe study, but a study nonetheless, of this local tribe in, I can't remember, it was either South America or Africa, but one who had a very strong belief in deities and in mediums and stuff like that. And what they learned is that some of their shamans or mediums who are praised because of their ability to speak with the dead actually just had schizophrenia, but because of the attitudes of the local societies, it actually manifested as this godly thing, which is, it's just crazy. I thought that was really interesting, and it kind of goes to show that it is really important to just get mental health right, both for yourself and for other people, because I couldn't imagine how someone might, I think of people with schizophrenia, I think 68% of those diagnosed attempt suicide at some time in their life, which is awful. And it goes to show that we just need to change the way that we treat them. It's very, very important.
Have you reached out to mental health organizations yet, NAMI and?
Yeah. So actually, the first month of my book sales were a fundraiser for NAMI. 50% of all proceeds went there. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed doing that. Yeah, for Mental Health Awareness Month.
How has Beaverdale and growing up in Beaverdale, how has that influenced your writing?
That's an amazing question. I was very lucky as a child to have the family that I do have. They're awesome people, and not so much the geography of Beaverdale, but the amount of idiotic career paths I wanted to go down, and yet had full support from my mom and dad. I wanted to be a magician at one point.
Deacon?
A deacon. Yeah, I was about to be a bishop. Yeah. I mean, so many like crazy things. Wanted to go into med school, and if anyone knows me, they know that I do not have the capacity to go through med school. Yeah, so it was more just like, I remember when I was very young and I was starting to write and I just really loved it. I remember just begrudgingly sometimes getting the space to kind of do that. I don't know if my mom would remember this at all, but I remember in second grade I was writing and I was supposed to be doing homework. A little bit of a no-no in my household. And so my mom was like, you need to do your homework, put the notebook away. And I didn't say it this eloquently because I was young, but I was just kind of like, Mom, this homework is due tomorrow and then it won't matter. I'm going to be a writer for the rest of my life. So you need to let me do this. I don't know if she would ever remember that, but it was very profound to me as a second grader. Where I was, was it really born out of passion for writing? Maybe not. It was probably homework that I didn't want to do. But I thought it was a pretty stellar excuse. And then I think you did let me write for a little bit longer after that. So that was really nice. Yeah.
You know, you mentioned early on tonight that you didn't go to school for writing or English or anything like that. I have some other friends here in the Des Moines area that are published writers, and they're a similar situation to you. They wrote for the love of writing and let their imaginations guide them versus being taught how to write by professors at school that many who are not published themselves. And so I think that's kind of neat that you just used your life experiences and your own imagination to create a book.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I knew my weaknesses too. Like when I was young, well, like in high school, that was when I started writing what I thought was going to be my first book. And that first draft sucked. Like a crazy ton. Number one, I think it clocked in at like 127,000 words, which it was supposed to be a young adult novel. And most of those are like 70 to 80. So it was terrible from that point. My grammar sucked. Miss Libby, I'm glad that you never had to teach me English because I never got good grades in English. I had a teacher as well who was in high school, and what he said to me was, I can tell that you have like a very creative mind. You're good at creative writing, but you need to learn how to structure your words. And so a lot of it was just like, just doing it a lot. Like if you write 500,000 words, you're going to become a better writer by the end of it. And also, it's really important to like know where you want to go, because I don't know if anybody here wants to write a book, but the first draft of your book is going to suck. I'm sorry to say it. I think everyone's first draft sucks because that's not the goal of the first draft. It's just to write and just to have something. But you just need to look at it and be able to say like, okay, here's where it is, and it's going to be really frustrating to get it where I want it to be, but it's worth it. And that's essentially just what has to happen. Thank you.
Just on continuing this, what did you learn after the editor responded to you? And like to me, that would be very humbling because I don't do grammar or spelling.
You don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The editor, he was great. A lot of it was grammar and conventions. Some of it was just like layout and stuff like that. Like, oh, you should really use an M dash here, and you should put a period between your ellipses and not just like 3 dots in a row. But he also, one of the biggest pluses was not only was his wife a therapist, he was also a poet, like a published poet. So he got to read all the poems in the book, and he had some really great things to say about those as well. So that was another, like, that was probably, that was one of the big things. And then also, well, on top of the editor, I had a team of beta readers, which beta readers are people who read your mostly finished manuscript. It is theoretically when you say, hey, this is done, I'm ready to publish. That's when you get other people to come in and mess everything up for you and create months more of work. But they were incredibly valuable. It was, because you could only glean so much from yourself. If you look at something for too long, you can't really see the bigger picture. And so, and also, it's really easy to read stuff from your own brain, understand what you're trying to say, and kind of miss that someone else might not get that from what you wrote. So, so they were able to tell me where it was going wrong. Also, my editor did a really good job at doing that. But yeah, a lot was changed based on what feedback they gave me, which was really great.
So Sam, you've mentioned what your major was. It was not English, apparently. But I'm wondering, with all this knowledge that you've gained about how to publish a book, how to talk to people, have you ever considered blogging about that and helping other people who might have the same idea, not same ideas, but the idea of publishing a book, and helping others do that in your spare time?
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I am just a little bit scatterbrained as an individual. Right now, I'm getting back into painting. So, I mean, it's really interesting. Like, publishing the book costs a lot of money. I'm not rich because of it, and I will never, once in my life, try to calculate my hourly rate as a writer, because it would be probably negative cents per hour. Probably would be paying for that ability to write. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people individually, and I think, start something at some point that was geared toward my journey publishing a novel, but something happened where, artwork, I'm completely fine doing that. I mean, obviously there's a very personal connection, it's very creative, but I will gladly do that for the purpose of making a profit off of what I'm doing, like commissioning artwork for friends, family, but writing, the more that post-publishing I focused on optimizing sales, making sure that it was viewable by the right people. There's this thing called SEO, which is really annoying. There's all this stuff, and I was kind of well, I could keep on obsessing over this and probably come up somewhat disappointed, or I could just I feel like writing is still just, even though it's published, it's still a very personal thing to me that I just do to be happy and to figure stuff out about myself. And so, yeah, I mean, that doesn't really answer the question that you asked.
No.
But, essentially,
That's not one of your goals.
It's just not one of my goals,
Yeah.
to really spread the word about this book. I mean, I love it. I feel like I have a really great community in this room and just in Des Moines, and just among everybody that I know, a growing number of people that I don't know, which is amazing to me. But yeah, it's not there right now, but maybe someday. Yeah.
Okay, maybe one more question.
Oh, got it.
Well, this is nothing profound. How did you find your editor in New York?
It's a website called Reedsy.
Oh, okay. So you
There's
just
a-
went and picked somebody and...
Yeah, there's a website where you apply to be an editor on this platform, and they actually have an algorithm and a reviewing team to either accept or deny your application.
Okay.
And then I get to shop for editors.
I was going to ask you
to choose.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of like, you know, if you know like Fiverr or Upwork, it's like a really, it's like an actual purpose-built Upwork for valuable. And Jesse, do you have a question? Last one.
Yeah. So what this took you, I'm estimating, just because you said you started in college, 5 or 6?
Took 5 years. Yeah.
Did you have at any point like writer's block, and how did you stay motivated?
Yeah. I did have writer's block. Best cure for writer's block is crappy things happening to you. It really gives you the fuel to work through some really important plot points. Like I said, I write to figure myself out and to kind of like try to explain how I view the world, and you don't learn a lot when like things are just going so awesome that you don't really need to worry about anything. It's so yeah. I mean, I think I wrote like 75 pages of this book in like 2 days at one point. But yeah, I mean, also I do a lot of other stuff. So I mean, when I started painting, that took away time from my book. When I like move all the time. That always takes a lot of time away from writing. So. It was 5 years, but I probably really only worked on it for like 2 or 3 straight. Yeah.
Was there ever a time during those 5 years that you didn't think you would get to the finish line, or how did you stay motivated to get to the end?
No, I think I always really believed in what I was writing for this one. There's like, I wrote a quote book in like high school and the very beginning of college that I don't know would ever see the light of day because I have problems with the overall plot. So I'm kind of like, well, I don't know if that's like important, or like I don't really know if it's like good to put out because of, maybe I'll like rewrite a vast portion of it, but yeah, I think I've always really believed in what was happening in the book, and it was something where like for the breadth of what I was writing it for, I was always interested in the story itself. So, yeah. I always wanted to publish it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna one more
Fine.
question.
Yeah. One more.
One more.
Are you going to ask your question that we discussed before? I have a question about when this book becomes a movie.
That's what I was going to ask.
Thank you.
Oh, when does this book become a movie?
When this book becomes a movie,
yeah,
you know,
the inevitable.
and as you were writing and visualizing who was, playing these different characters, who do you anticipate being cast?
Ooh.
Yes.
After seeing the ability for Timothée Chalamet to play a serious, like very like Dune-ish role, Tim could be Reese, I think, pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah. And I don't know anybody else, so don't ask.
I was thinking Chris Coleman.
Yeah, Chris.
He could be Hugo.
Yeah. If I wrote a character that sucked, it could be Chris.
That can be from the first
Just kidding.
book.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And will there be more books?
There will I'm never gonna stop writing. So at some point, there will likely be another book. Yeah. Just need to rebuild my savings so I can ruin it again.
We'll help you out.
Yeah, sweet.
I just read where Joe Hill took 9 years between his 2 novels.
Oh, sweet. I'm gonna use that. It's my, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, sweet. I'll be around. So. Yeah.